he's the undisputed champion, you know, make no mistake about that. Well, actually, he was the interim champion. Let's not make mistakes about that. He was the interim champion. And now, somehow, by some snakes and ladders, you know, king me or whatever, he became the undisputed champion. I didn't hear what you said. Say it again. Say it again. Hey, what? Blah, blah. English. It took her there. English. English. I can't hear you properly. Use your words. Enunciate. Enunciate. I can't hear you. Wait. Quiet. Say it again.
Well, I didn't ask the question.
I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
English. Let him talk.
All right,
enunciate.
next question.
Enunciate.
So, how are you going to feel taking the new belt?
Show respect, disrespect to the Reaper. How dare you do that? What have you done? What have you done? 10 rounds with Yoel Romero, you wouldn't last one. I would put $1,000 on that. Your things are terrible.
Okay, wait, let me talk. Let me ask you, what? So, you said 10 rounds with Romero. Yeah. And fucking what?
Just having one of Robert Whittaker's favourite drinks. How does my backdrop look, man? Does it look professional? My name's Schteve Riley, and I'm here to talk about Israel Adesanya and his very, very poor behaviour when a microphone gets put in front of him, when he's with his brother, and when he's with his other friends, you know, teammates. I think someone needs to have a little word to him and, you know, just ask him to conduct himself a little bit better. Because Israel. What the hell is going on with this guy? Doesn't know what he wants to do. If he wants to go full hardcore, not give a fuck what everyone thinks, or if he wants to give respect to supposed enemies, blood enemies. Who knows? Spewing's not going to fight Drickus anytime soon, but him versus Strickland, that's going to be funny. That's going to be very funny. There's going to be many memes made from that fight, mostly from the press conference. I think we all agree Strickland should probably lose that fight. I think if I was a betting man, which I am a betting man, I'd be putting money on Israel. A lot of money on Israel, probably. The odds probably wouldn't support that bet, but yeah, with a parlay or something in there, who knows? But I think that's easy money, and I think Israel knows that. Realistically, I think Robert Whittaker should be fighting in his hometown in Sydney, and I would not be surprised. Like Izzy said, "Oh, Strickland, you're next, Strickland," in that Chinese, Kiwi, Nigerian, American, Australian accent that he does. But yeah, I think Robert Whittaker should be fighting that fight. He got TKO'd in that last fight with Drickus, but he didn't look like he took too much damage. I don't know if he's. Let's have a look right now. Has he got a medical suspension? Let's have a look. Robert Whittaker medical suspension. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. There you go. All right. Well, Rob should be fighting that fight. Dricus versus Rob was a #1 contender fight. Robert Whittaker has never dropped #1 contender since losing to Israel Adesanya. He still hasn't lost it. Yes, he lost to Dricus. Dricus can't fight. Rob should fight. Don't you think? Yeah, interesting. In Rob's hometown, it'd be crazy to think that Sean Strickland is fighting that fight with how much marketing could go behind Rob versus Izzy in Rob's hometown. They're always keen, UFC's always keen to set up those record crowds. Melbourne UFC 243, Izzy versus Whittaker 1, or Whittaker versus Adesanya 1. That's set the crowd record for the UFC for attendance. So you would imagine if that's in Melbourne and Rob lives in Sydney, you'd think Sydney would do more. I don't know what the stadium holds. Let's have a look. September UFC Sydney. Let's have a look. 21,000 seat fully enclosed arena. And what did Rod Laver hold? Or was it a Marvel? Yeah, it was a Marvel, wasn't it? Marvel Stadium, yeah. 57,000. All right. Well, yeah, forget that. They don't need to worry about filling that. They'll fill it. Oh, all right. We got someone. Come on. Rob should be fighting that fight, I think. Like he said, he didn't turn up on the night where he fought Dricus. It was pretty self-evident. And I think for Rob, he had a lot to lose. He had a title shot to lose. You know, he respects Dricus. Dricus was... It's a bit unknown how far his ceiling is, how high his ceiling is. But I think it's pretty high. He's got that mentality too. You know, a lot of Izzy's opponents have backed down when he starts going at them, especially being such a high stakes sort of face off that they did in the cage. Dricus didn't back down at all. Handled himself very well. Robert Whittaker should be fighting at UFC 293, not Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is not good enough to fight Israel Adesanya. Robert Whittaker is. I don't think he won that last fight against Izzy. It was damn close. I think if he'd have done more with his takedowns, he would have taken that fight for sure. And if he hadn't have been so gun-shy in the first round, definitely would have taken that fight. But, yeah, maybe he'll get a third crack at the cherry because Strickland shouldn't be fighting. You know, he just beat an unranked guy who gassed out, lost to Cannonier. Whittaker schooled Cannonier. Hurt him too, broke his arm. Yeah, that was a good fight. Wobbled him real bad. I don't know how Cannonier actually kept going through that, but maybe that was his heavyweight chin standing up. But yeah, Robert Whittaker is not medically suspended. So I think he should be the one fighting for the title, UFC 293. He's been a number one contender for years. You know, he lost the belt 2019, has not lost the number one spot. He lost it to Alex Pereira, but should he have? Should he have lost that spot? And should he have gotten it back once Pereira moved up to light heavyweight? I think so. Let's talk about Israel Adesanya and his very, very, very poor behavior. I don't think anyone can disagree with me that, yeah, I'm pretty big into the UFC. And there's a fighter who's the current middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. He came out recently and attacked a white South African fighter, Dricus du Plessis, who just beat our boy Robert Whittaker, the guy from Sydney. It was a number one contenders fight for a shot at the title. Dricus, born and raised in South Africa for generations, came out and said, if he wins the belt, he's going to take it back to Africa, and he'll be the first African champion to do that, to take a belt back to Africa where he lives. And Israel Adesanya is black, and he was born in Nigeria, which is not South Africa, it's West Africa. But he took offense to a white man saying he was more African by culture than Israel Adesanya. Got in the cage last week after Dricus beat Rob and got his title shot and started dropping M-bombs left, right and centre, knowing that Dricus couldn't say it back. And basically saying if you can't be called an N-word, then you ain't African. Highly racist. Saying, let's do a DNA test and we'll see who's more African. Insane. So could you imagine if Robert Whittaker, he's got a bit of colour about him. He was born in New Zealand, but he's a very Aussie bloke. And there was a black Australian fighter. And Robert Whittaker, the white Australian, said, you're not Australian. Let's do a DNA test and see where our bloodline's from. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Got some of my random paraphernalia here. Wooden samurai sword my friend gave me. Bunch of Marvel stuff, Captain America, Spider-Man, all the stuff I like. The trusty old flags in the back, my megaphone, a few signed posters here. Robert Whittaker, Trailer Park Boys, Bas Rutten. One of my faves is Bas. Godspeed and Party On. What a legend. Family man and also a very funny dude, and would beat me to a pulp with his little toe. One of my videos once did 150 views in like 30 minutes. And a year later, it's sitting on 170 views. That should have done 150 views in 30 minutes, times that by a year. Very hard to build up as a base on YouTube if you've got a full-time job and not just posting on here full-time. I've done a lot of videos. Some of them got 10,000 views, 15,000 views, but I get pretty smashed in the algorithm.